Hey everybody, this is Patti Negri. Welcome to the witching hour. Yes, the hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I have a dynamic duo of magic for you today. I have the dynamic duo from And That's Why We Drink, the hit paranormal and true crime podcast. And now they are also of New York Times bestseller authors of A Haunted Road Atlas. So let's welcome Schulz and Christine Schiefer. Thank you so much for coming on, you guys.
It's an
Thank you for having
honor.
us.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
an honor to meet you face to face.
yeah, I'm just thrilled to have you. And this is face to face. This is as face to face as we've gotten in
Technically.
years. It is. So, what brought you guys? Again, you guys are such a cute dynamic duo. You are great. I know you're not in the same place. What even brought you together to become this beautiful, iconic thing that you guys are?
Oh, that's so kind. I like to let Em tell our quote unquote love
Okay.
story. So, Em, why don't you take it away?
Our meet cute was
Or meet cute.
when Christina and I met each other in grad school when we both went to Boston University, and we were there for television. And the program sends you out to Los Angeles for your last semester so you can get internships and all that. And when we moved out to Los Angeles after the program ended, pretty much everyone we were friends with from grad school all moved away and didn't stay in LA. But the two of us stayed after we graduated. And we didn't have anybody else to really we didn't run in the same circles before, and now we were kind of forced out of loneliness to be friends with each other because she was the only person I knew and I was the only person she knew. So I said, "Hey, well, do you want to come with me to a harvest festival and just try out being friends and see how that goes?" And within about 20 minutes of being there, we were talking about ghost stories and different true crime things. Christine introduced me to podcasts, and only about 4 months into our friendship, I was hooked on podcasts that she had recommended to me, and I was like, "Let's just try to make our own and see where it takes us." So that from the very beginning of our friendship, we have been in the podcast world together, and it's been
Hmm.
very, very lovely.
I love it. And you've combined the two, like, I think most popular things out there: paranormal, ghost, and true crime. So, how did that come about? Were you guys both fans of both, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was always a fan of true crime, and even when I was little, my mom was always reading like the creepy crime thriller paperbacks and that kind of thing. So it was always on my radar. And at the time, when Em and I became friends, I was actually working at a private investigation firm, and so I was like really into the kind of like surveillance aspect of it. And M used to be a paranormal investigator in college as a job, and so and that's something I've been fascinated with my whole life. I like used to hide a Ouija board under my bed and try to do seances with my friends and all that. And so I just was constantly asking M questions, and we were sharing stories, and we just decided, these are the two things we talk about most. Let's put them in a podcast. And, it wasn't really planned to be, successful. We just thought it would be fun. And so, yeah, we were really excited when it actually worked.
That is beautiful. And now you're even taking it on the road, right? You're touring, you're doing live shows,
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
this is our technically our third tour. It would be our fourth or fifth if COVID didn't knock us down a few pegs, but this is our third tour that we're going out in a couple weeks, and we'll be on the road through May. So it's very
Hmm.
fun.
wow, that's fabulous. So tell me, what is your favorite place that you guys get? Because this way you get to go live, you get to go do the ghosty stuff. What is your favorite place that you've been so far, or that you guys investigated together, or done a
Oh,
show?
we debate this a lot because we constantly change our minds and have differing opinions. But I think New Orleans is one of our top spots for obvious reasons. Would you agree with that, Em? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I think that's just. I mean, on every block there's something to want
It's
to
just like
want to
ghosts
look
everywhere.
into. And also the whole town embraces it, which I love. I wish there were
Yeah.
more towns that were like, "Please come see our ghosts. It's
We did go
amazing."
to
So
Charleston, and they were definitely, more in the they were trying to really embrace that too, and I've been to Savannah, which I think is really haunted, but we haven't been there on tour yet, so
mm-mm,
maybe
no,
someday.
yeah.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is up there too, because they do
Mhm.
embrace their ghosts, and there is ghosts on every corner and every spot of every corner, and
And you can
it's just
drink while you're hunting
and you
ghosts.
can,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just the best combo
It's
in
like
my mind.
Disney. It's like
It's
adult
Disney
Disney.
for
It
me.
is. It is. It is. So I know you guys have done stuff at the Queen Mary here. That is one of my favorite places as well. I grew up here, so I literally did high school prom at the Queen Mary,
That's
or going to get
amazing.
married. That's the kind of the local place to do things where you came from. But even back then, and I'm talking a long time ago, I remember sneaking away from my prom and getting into where the pool is, the empty indoor pool where the little girl, I saw the little girl goes before I even knew there was a little girl goes.
Oh, really?
That's great. And then the Queen Mary took on her own life once
Sure.
our normal world has set. So what kind of experiences have you guys had there?
Oh boy. Oh boy. This has been like 3 years of telling stories from the Queen Mary, because we went in 2019, was it 20? Yeah, to film for our 2020 tour, which obviously you know how that ended. And so we finally just wrapped up that tour at the end of 2022. But yeah, so much happened. I mean, the little
we
girl
actually
ghost, it just so much.
so you're asking us a question that for years, because our tour, we were trying to keep the location private until people actually saw the show live.
It's like a
So
surprise. Yeah.
and then COVID hit right after we filmed it, and then we had to wait through COVID to be able to show it. So for 3 years, we couldn't say a single thing about the Queen Mary publicly. So now that you're asking about Queen Mary, part of me feels like I'm not supposed to say something. But
It's like the floodgates open. Yeah.
you're asking. It's a very risky question because I might not shut up. But so we went for 2 nights, and the first night, we got to go down to the boiler room, and I talked to John Henry, who is said to have died down there when when a pipe burst on him, and he was very, very chatty. We used basically we just asked yes or no questions, and if the meter moved, we knew it was a yes. And him and I got along really well. We talked a bunch of times throughout the night. We also, in the isolation ward there, we got a lot of EVPs of footsteps and throat clearing and high heels walking through the room.
I think the biggest pattern we got, speaking of EVPs, was multiple times throughout the night, we were getting EVPs saying get out or leave before we got there. So it was like we were walking toward, we had no idea obviously at the time, but we'd be like traipsing on in, like not a care in the world, down to the isolation ward, and about 60 seconds before we walked in, you hear a huge male voice scream get out, and then we come waltzing on through. So that seemed to be like, I don't think we were super duper welcome there, which we didn't realize at the time, but that was definitely something we picked up on later.
Yeah, we also so the little girl Jackie, that's said to be the main haunting of the ship.
Your prom date, Patty, if you
Yes, my prom date.
Yeah.
Yes. So she's known to also call out for her mommy and daddy. She's also said to maybe not be the purest spirit. There might be some negative energy there. And we definitely sensed that. We got a lot of signs. We stayed in B340, which is the big famous haunted room there. And we stayed overnight, and we ended up getting an EVP clear as day of a little girl saying daddy. Like not even a whisper. It is like a little kid.
We had to check our other cameras so many times to just make sure none of us were saying it, because it was so clear.
Yeah, like as loud as I'm talking right now. It was just daddy. And from that point on, for the rest of the night, we started getting EVPs of the same voice that became more garbled and warped, and it really twisted on itself. And I mean, the most intelligent responses from sensors that we've ever gotten were, oh, if you make that meter in the bathroom go off, I'll take a drink, and it would go off. And we played a drinking game with the ghost for like an hour. And anyway, I'll stop talking now, but we got a lot.
Yeah, no, it is one of my favorite. I think there's a million things, all the history of it, of course. The high energy, people are excited, the people who cruised on it, and then it was a warship, and a lot of people died as a war. I mean, there's so much history. And then all the focus, I think the fact it is sitting on water, which is going to be a conduit, everything makes it literally like a battery pack. A really good thing, I know, and they were closed, and everybody said it was sinking, but it's not sinking, and they're opening it. But a really good thing to do, it's a secret, don't tell anyone.
Okay, just you and me here.
Yeah, is if you're there, and if you're on an investigation grade, they do some. We're lucky as like people to get to do private ones and stuff. When there's 3 people on this whole boat, that in itself is scary. Looking down the aisles when I was with the overnight guys, it's like, okay, all right.
Because then any noise you hear, you can't explain away as being another guest.
We are the only people here. But what we did with a girlfriend of mine, and I got some of the best video just with a cell phone. It was daytime, so it wasn't late enough to go into the hotel. In the afternoon, when it's open again, the maids are changing the rooms.
Yeah.
They like to talk about it. They will go in. What experiences have you had here? And they will let you go in rooms, not rooms that people are still in,
Sure.
but somebody's moved out and they're changing the linens and stuff. They'll come in here and they like to talk about it.
Wow.
New management's coming in, but super pro tip: go talk to the maids at the hotel. And you will get stuff you won't. And my friend and I were just getting all this stuff, and we sat down. And I'm medium, so I was just like, okay, there's somebody right here, and there's somebody right here, and doing this. And I go, oh, they're walking over by you. My friend Linda, she has it on her cell phone. A shadow person walking, just the shadow walking right past me like this. It's like, yeah, walking right by. It's just, we didn't have equipment, weren't doing anything. It's right there in the hallway of the hotel at the Queen
Just
Mary.
blatant.
Yeah. Like,
it was a wild spot. Yeah. I feel like we've looked at other places for future tours, and it's just going to be hard to beat. I don't know. We had a very successful investigation there.
When we first, we now have footage from another place that we are not going to talk about until we actually get to show it on tour. But we just came from another location that was really interesting. And the one place that I think we've currently written off as we won't go personally is Bobby Mackey's. Is that right, Christine?
Yeah. So that was like a personal thing, and I still feel guilty about that because we had big plans to go there for our second tour and film there. And don't get me wrong, we got a great show already for the next tour. We found a backup spot that might have been even cooler, but the original location was supposed to be Bobby Mackey's because it's like 10 minutes down the road from me here in Kentucky. And I started, it was like the couple weeks before we were supposed to fly down, I started having these nightmares, and they were so aggressive. And I have like scary dreams, nightmares, whatever, but these were different. And weirdly enough, several of them included Zach Bagans, but I think that was because
that's everybody. Believe me, that's every day I get a call.
Just normal.
I think he's my soulmate. I don't.
No, he's mine. Wait, what?
I know. I get it from worldwide.
Oh my gosh,
reach him for me.
No. But I watched the Ghost Adventures episode, and he left. Like, he was like, I can't. Like, he gave up on Bobby Mackey's, and this was after I started having these nightmares, and I went, well, if he can't even do it, and I started having these nightmares where I would like go down into a pit in Bobby Mackey's and like lose Em and our producer Eva and get like trapped. I mean, it was just these like horrible, very visceral nightmares. And one day I just told Em and Eva, and I said, I know that I'm the one who initiated this plan, but I just have to pull the plug. I don't know why. I just am too scared. And I'm usually the one on the investigations that's like less jumpy.
I'm more chicken usually.
Like, usually things like I need to be convinced, but for whatever reason, I was just like not. I don't know what it is. And even to this day, when I walk past or drive past, I just like don't look it directly in the eye, so to speak. So I don't know what that was about, but maybe we'll go there someday. But for now, I've written it off.
So what do you do? As again, I don't know your belief systems or anything like that. I'd love to know, but what do you guys do if you get scared? What is your scariest thing? And I mean, do you start laughing? Do you do Lord's Prayer? Do you jump up and down? Do you have
all of the above?
Yeah, we're definitely both very open. I mean, I'm a full believer, but I think that's why I get scared, because I'm aware that there are things I don't know, and I know that I'm messing with territory that I don't know everything about. And so we try to go into every investigation incredibly respectful. We set our intentions early on that, like, we are just here for the night. We're just appreciating your home, and we'll be gone by morning.
As far as like, don't
hurt us.
Don't follow us.
Like, we're not here to like cause problems. We never like antagonize anything. We're like, we're just here for the night, and we hope we're not too in your space, but we will be gone and you never have to see us again. And then as we're leaving, I think I say goodbye about 1 million times before we've. Yeah. And we try our best to be respectful, but I'm also scared because I know I'm still going into spaces I know nothing about, and it terrifies me that anything's possible, and I'm opening myself up to
Yeah,
it.
I
So
will say though, we definitely cope with humor. Like we're definitely I think that's how a lot of the show works, which we didn't obviously plan, but I think a lot of it works because we cope with humor, especially, when things get really dark on the podcast, but even in person, there were so many clips from the last tour of M just like giggling in terror and so there was a lot of that kind of push and pull of like, this is supposed to be funny, but it's actually fully terrifying. So I think that's how they kind of play together. But yeah, I don't know, we're big chickens, I think, in the long
But
run.
that's okay. I mean, but that makes for good entertainment. But you guys do exactly right. It's say
Oh,
your
good.
intent and come in respectful. That's the most important thing.
Sure.
And the other thing is honestly humor.
good.
When I so knew that people go in and not knew what they do. I started a school last year. I really started. I teach for psychic development and mediumship and witchcrafty stuff, but we teach paranormal investigation 101 and protection classes. We call it a real life Hogwarts. It's called University Magicus.
Okay,
I'm writing
Anytime
it
you
down.
guys are my guest in a class, anytime you want,
I'm
'cause
signing
there's
up
little things
110%.
like the biggest portal on your body for spirit. Most people don't know that is right where your head and your neck come together. That's the
Really?
biggest portal on your body. Like your third eye is here. This is your
Sure.
whole crown of illumination. That's why if you pray, you bow your head to open that up for God, for spirit. So
Oh
when you go
my
into a haunted
goodness.
place, close that down or open that up if you want to communicate, but you don't want them in that way. You want them to come in this way, not that way.
Sure.
So a little thing, that's where I'll put protection oil or just rub it with olive oil or just my fingers. It will do it. But your other thing is the biggest thing when all else fails and you've tried this pattern, you've tried that, is laugh. Because
Good.
that breaks the energy. Because laughter itself, it's your breath. Because do anything out loud. Because our breath is our life force. It's our pneuma. So you're putting your human life force. I do believe that this is our realm of existence, and they do have to play by our rules. People just don't know that, so they give away their power. And our moisture in our breath, when you're breathing, that's our free will. That's why some cultures spit, like, oh, pretty baby. You don't have to spit, but you're giving them your life force. You're giving them your free will.
Oh
and
my
then with
goodness.
laughter, you're doing vowels, and vowels are what open up your whole crown of illumination and your clarity and bring in light. It's just like, think about, yes, and think about like almost every sacred word is a vowel, like amen or
Sure.
om, or Native American, hey, East Indian, yeah, or laughing, roller coaster, that opens this up. So you're not going to laugh your butt off. Like, I'm scared to death. And a fake laugh will turn into a real laugh because it sounds so ridiculous. That has gotten me out of some of the scariest places ever.
Oh my gosh, you just blew my mind, because that really is always what we resort to, for better or for worse.
Intuition, girl.
Intuition. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We are truly about to sign up for every class that you offer.
Absolutely. I've been looking for something like this, like something that can help me kind of put parameters and understand and learn how things work.
Yeah, University Magicus or
I'm gonna sign up.
universitymagicit.com or magicu.org. I have over 20 teachers now. My vampire partner, my Italian partner, we have a werewolf from the University of Washington. We have a Catholic priest exorcist. We have a lot of New Agers. We have a Norwegian Viking teaching that kind of magic.
Wow.
Crystals, Reiki, a lot of paranormal investigators lead ones like Stefan Brigatti, who really knows his stuff, teaching everything. And it's cheap. Wow. It's cheap. If we sit on little Zoom screens from all over the world, it's 2 a.m. here, it's 6 p.m. there. Yeah.
What an awesome idea. That is so cool.
It's fun. It is fun. But anytime you want to guest, come on down.
We would love to. Well, okay, since we're getting some advice from you, may I ask you a question, even though we haven't technically enrolled in the course yet?
It's okay.
This is like a taster. Okay. So I noticed you mentioned, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention her, but your doll Belle, right? In the background. Yeah. What a beautiful, wonderful doll. Yes. Don't turn my power off again. But what I was going to ask, because this comes up pretty regularly, and Em and I have tried to find answers for this, but we're just not sure. Sometimes listeners of the podcast, I hope with good intention, but will mail us random items or objects that are purportedly haunted. And we've gotten some really some kind of goofy ones and then some like very seriously alarming ones, like items
Mhm.
from a funeral that somebody got and
Or
mailed
like
to
a
us.
vigil at
A
like
vigil, like a melted candle from a vigil of someone who was murdered, just like really some dark, heavy stuff. And I think the most, I don't know, the topper, the clincher was this giant wooden crate we received, and we opened these on video for our Patreon in my old house, and we have to like basically crowbar the lid off this crate. And it's
Mhm.
just filled with straw, and there's like this doll in it, like this big doll,
Yeah.
and we lift her out, of course, already wary. And then there's a note. And by the way, no return address on this thing. And it says, like, this doll has caused nothing but problems at our house. It's caught the barn on fire twice. My daughter sees it walking in her dreams, all this stuff. Anyway, now it's yours. And we just, every time this happens, we genuinely don't know what to do because we're like, well, we don't want to just throw it away. Like, that seems like it might double the problems. I'm not sure.
But
So
we also don't want it. So
we don't want it. Yeah.
what do we
So
do with it?
Call
yeah, that's
me.
kind of the question. Call you. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, but you do have to clear some, and everything is clearable, I must say, but do cleanse it. I don't let the sun set before, if there's a negative spirit in it. There's a
Mm.
million ways to do it. You could do it through your belief system, through your religion. I work elementally in the air and the fire, I'm not a big sage person, but sage, Palo Santo, with salt around the thing. That's actually so many method. My book has an easy method of cleansing on stuff, but they do have energies. I mean, half the stuff people sadly buy, like on eBay, how all of a sudden is there 900 haunted dolls from the city?
I know.
A
We
lot
were
of it's
just
like,
talking about
buy
that.
it at Target, it's haunted. No, but there are haunted dolls, and you don't want to bring something into your home. And if you're a spirit, they can enter anything. But who wouldn't you, if you were a spirit, you could enter into a vase or something with eyes and a face that moves.
Right.
You're going to go.
Makes sense.
So that actually happened with Belle, the same thing. A girl in Belgium, and she did tell me before she sent it, but she saw me on Ghost Adventures, or one of their spin-offs, Deadly Possessions,
Mm.
doing a seance with Belle the doll. Not Belle, she's Belle. Peggy the doll, more
Oh,
haunted, darker. She's in
we
Zach's
call her
museum right
PTD.
Yeah,
We call her
now.
PTD.
she
We're
caused like nosebleeds and car crashes when we talked about her on our show.
and,
So
and heart attack. When
yeah.
we were doing Zach, he didn't own her yet. The girl who they brought in, Jane, now a good friend, who owned her, and one of the
Mhm.
girls, not very old, who had given a heart attack I'm sitting there, holding Peggy's hand, a little plastic hand at a seance, and it was crazy, but we got the girl over it. We got all this stuff. But this girl in Belgium had seen, she's like, well, if you can handle Peggy the doll, you can handle Belle. So she asked if she could send her, because Belle had made this girl sick for 3 years, made her hair fall out, made her toddler sick, unless Belle was in a drawer in the shed, and Belle didn't like being in a drawer in the shed. So I'm like,
sure.
I'll take her. You must have had good, when you guys open things on camera, you probably get all those box opener people. You probably got really good views. But I had never even done like a Facebook Live when this was. I
Sure.
never done one. I'm supposed to Facebook Live this. And I have good followers, but not that kind of. 50,000 people watched me open this. And it wasn't me or my energy or my people. It was Belle. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm
Oh.
confusing you. She's going to be so mad at me.
Oh,
Watch my
No,
lights
I
go
hope
out.
not.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
But anyway, and it was crazy. And she had such a dark spirit. So I got rid of that dark spirit. I don't have enough hair to fall out, but got rid of the dark bad spirit. But immediately there was this little girl spirit, but it was a positive spirit, but still she drained energy. I had to keep the herb rue. I work with a lot of herbs and in her little plastic hand and little Dixie cups all around, so she didn't just drain everybody's energy into the
wow.
room. And now she
Wow.
doesn't, and now she's a part of the family. If we're upstairs, we hear her running around downstairs when the dog and cat are with us, and she's
Oh
great.
no.
People see her move on camera,
Oh my
but
gosh.
you can't keep negative spirits. I had
How do
one.
you cleanse that? Like, what do you do? Like, I mean, I'm
Well,
sure if I read, if you're, I have to read your
moonlight,
book.
sunlight,
Okay.
smudging of some kind, doing it. Work with crystals, work with salt,
Sure.
work with water, Florida water, holy water, if that's your
Mhm.
belief system. I had one piece that I couldn't do. It was again given to me by a person like you guys get stuff, and it was this cute little New Orleans looking voodoo-y thing, and it was fine because I know what I'm doing. My house is protected.
Sure.
So all of a sudden I was like, but why am I not hanging around my office? I just can't stay in my office. I bring my laptop upstairs and
Oh.
I'm looking around. It's not all my hundreds of Barbie dolls. It's like, oh, it's that thing. So I literally did call Zach. I go, Zach, I have this thing. I don't want it. Do you want it? He goes, what does it look like? And I sent him a picture. He goes, ooh, it's a fetish nail headed fetish hate god. Yeah, I want it. So I took it there, handed it to him, and it started acting up that night in a nice, safe place in the museum where it's allowed.
There you
There's enough
go.
guard.
Where it's
It's like,
welcome. Right.
yours, not mine.
Right.
Because as fun as everybody wants a haunted dolls with a good energy are great, but bad energy is not good. It can give
No.
you illness and sickness and
Yeah.
hair fall out and yeah.
Yeah, we
So
had a time on the or through our podcast. We've been doing this for, oh gosh, I think 7 years. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Em.
We just yesterday was our 6th year anniversary.
Oh,
8, 9, 10.
I'm sorry. I don't know. My mind, ever since I had a
It's
baby
okay.
last year, I feel like
6
my brain
years.
has just turned to mush. 6 years we've been doing the show. Sorry, Em.
That's okay.
And there was a weird period, which I'm convinced, and I don't know if, and again, usually I'm like the harder one to convince. I'm a little, I believe most things we talk about. I'm very open minded, but I am definitely between me and Em, I think I'm the more skeptical one. But there was a time where we really felt like something was attached to either one of us or the show. And when people say that,
the show's like, it sounds so weird, but it felt like the show's success. Like it felt like
it was
there was
bizarre. It felt like something was like intentionally dragging us backward, and it was almost like the most ridiculous things that could go wrong did, like in the most improbable ways, to a point where we were like, this is hilarious. Like this is like a sitcom, how badly everything is just like turning on its head. And we were with a new network at the time, and our logo, actually, they were trying to put it on the wall with all the other logos. And every single time that they hung it up, it like would fly off the wall, shatter all over the ground. This was not a studio that felt like that they had nothing else to do with paranormal. We were the only show on the network that had anything to do with that. But they were so perplexed, and they started buying like bigger, stronger tape, like Velcro. They were like nailing it. And it didn't matter where on the wall they put it, which wall they put it. It was the strangest thing. They said every morning they came in like 3 or 4 times, and this thing was shattered. We were like, okay, this is getting really weird. At our apartment that we share, things were moving, things were flying off the walls. And it's, we get a lot of emails from people hearing these kind of stories, and it's always like, scary. But when it's happening to you, we were like, oh no, like something like this is very real and very visceral all of a sudden. But we never really got to I don't know if we had a cleansing with somebody. I don't know if we ever got to the bottom of it really.
We had
but
a cleansing, but both of us felt like it didn't even work. I mean, I don't think we agitated anything by trying, but we both walked away feeling like we were still in this weird rut, and like it just, everything felt off. And so we could both tell that like our show was, I mean, nobody else could tell that it was doing badly, and it really wasn't doing badly. But every time we would put ourselves out there to climb a ladder or do something, it would keep getting knocked down. Things would happen in a way where like we would, it was wild. We always felt so weird. There always felt like there was a darkness around
like
us.
An obstacle in front of every single path, and like even the ones that were so simple. And we had a manager who we still have, who told us like, this is hilarious. And she's not like a believer in anything paranormal, and she says, this is hilarious. Like this is so outrageously ridiculous. Everything. I've never worked with an act or like a artist who had so many things go wrong
you probably got a thing, got bad energy. When you walk into the paranormal world, when you walk into this world and want to see and talk to ghosties and stuff, you've literally opened a door.
Right.
You have to keep extra protections in your home, on your body, and awareness. And you're going to have a hater out there no matter what, be jealous or this or that. And whether it's an official, I'm cursing you and I'm hexing you, 99% of the time it's not, but it's an energy sent towards you. And it does. So if that happens again, there's a really great, I've got it in my book. it's a lemon uncrossing spell. It works every time. It's old Southern conjure root magic. You just get a lemon and some salt. That's all it costs you. And you're slicing it sour spell to sour fruit. You must go there because that's your suit. Into this lemon ever bound. All cures, all ills with salt and sound. And then you're salting the hell out of it. And then you put it to dry and it starts pulling all the bad energy, whether self-created, that's self-fulfilling prophecy, there's something going on, or somebody sent you bad energy, or somebody really did curse or hex you. In a week, you burn it or bury it, and you're clear.
Patti, you're scaring me a little bit because one of the things that happened when this all started was that I found a mummified lemon underneath a bed of an Airbnb we were staying at, and I like took it
Old
home,
Southern conjure.
and Em was like, "God, get rid of that thing," and I wouldn't get rid of it, and so to this day, it's become almost like a mascot of the podcast. But that
It's protective. It's good. I mean, I'm sure it was put by
I
somebody
hope
else for another
so.
reason.
But we found it under the bed, and Em was like, "Don't take that home." But now I've
Is it
befriended it, so
is it salted?
I don't know. We just thought it was like rolled under there. We didn't even think about it really, but a couple people have written
Ah,
in and said it might have like been used for that. So oh boy, that was very weird
yeah, that's
synchronicity.
my best uncrossing. Again, whether bad energy, self-created, or whatever. It works. It's easy. It costs you $1.
Sure. Okay, good to know.
So
I'm
you've
on it.
got your own little lemon. That's
Yeah,
good.
we do. The
Yeah.
second you said lemon, Christina and I threw the computer, looked at each other like this can't, this has to be. There's no way that
That's
I
too
just heard
weird.
lemon.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're really you're hitting a lot of targets. I don't think you realize.
Uh,
You're well done. Well done.
Thank you. I planned. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your wonderful book. It's a very interesting travel atlas.
Yeah, it's
So where
definitely
where did
unique.
the idea for this, or how did this come? And yeah, talk
Yeah,
about
well, I
this.
think we'd always wanted to write a book, and I always say Em kind of set the tone early on because Em is famously not a big reader, like just not into, reading books on the show and told me, if we're going to write a book, I got to be honest to myself and our listeners and make a book that's more something Em said as something I would read. And so we tried to kind of model it as more interactive and have fun, like break it up with illustrations and little tidbits, fun facts. But yeah, it's a haunted road atlas, and I mean, it says what it does what it says on the tin, so to speak. And we basically covered 32 cities throughout the United States and put, different haunted hotels in the area, different haunted bars, what do you call them? What the WTF places, like just really off the wall kind of
Yeah.
spots.
Usually when I'm traveling, I try to find like the weird oddity spots that aren't, the less traveled areas. And so we have a column of that if you're trying to do some like different traveling or different tourism. And yeah, we've got all sorts of things to make it visually appealing. As Christine said, I have attention issues that dry text I've never been able to read and actually retain. So we try to make it into a bite-sized pieces of information. So
Oh yeah,
if
but
you're
we do also cover, I forgot to even mention the whole point of the book also is that in every city we cover a true crime story and a paranormal story. So, if you happen to be going, which a few people have tagged us on Instagram saying they're going on a road trip and they're bringing it with them, which is like such an honor. But yeah, that's the idea. So you can read like a true crime story from the city you're visiting or the city you're from or whatever it may be, and then a paranormal story written by Em, and then in between there's little, tidbits.
Yeah, and if we've covered the topic before on our podcast, there's QR codes throughout the book, so you can listen to a longer version of the
Oh,
story
right.
instead of the bite-sized piece we give you in the book, and so it all ties together very nicely.
That is beautiful. I'm looking at your LA. You've got the Cecil, one of my favorite. You've got the
Mhm.
Black Dahlia, one of my favorite.
I gotta say,
You
LA
mentioned
was hard to narrow down, especially with true crime and hauntings. We were really struggling to narrow down LA. I feel like we could write a whole book just on LA.
Yeah,
Dude,
when
you should.
when we first
No.
started when we first started writing, my goal originally was like I want to write in depth about every location in every city, and then everyone had to stop me in my tracks and be like, "That's more of an encyclopedia."
Yeah, we had like 75 cities on the list, and they were
Yeah.
like, no.
They're like, you can't do that, and so we ended up having to reel it in incredibly, and then they were like, "What story do you really want to highlight?" And I was like, "Oh my, how do I pick? Like, there's
Mhm.
so many in California. There's so many." So Cecil Hotel got the pick this time.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, it's very popular these days. I still I've got this thing and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna keep talking about it. they're moving in low income people right now, which
Mhm.
concept is great. 700 empty rooms, lots of homeless people. But that place is like the darkest place I've ever been. And it makes
Yeah.
you want to kill yourself, die, overdose.
Mhm.
Really?
So I want to like grab every person I know who wants to hold hands and kumbaya, priest, preacher, witch, shaman, vampire, healer, Reiki master, and like hold hands around the whole thing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do it, dang it. I don't
I'm
think
coming
Patty
in
will
for
go.
that. I'll
Yeah,
fly
I'll
in.
come.
come in for it.
I
I'll
will
come.
Because those
happily.
people, it's really depressing place
Do you think that's
inside.
because of just the events that occurred there, or do you think it's the location, or?
Yes. I think the ground under that part of downtown, there's a reason that even Skid Row
Mm,
is there. There's an energy there.
right,
Mm.
right,
I
right,
don't know
right, right.
native burial ground, all that stuff, but there's an energy, a grid line, and all the bad stuff that happened. And because of that, so much negativity, a spirit was created, like an egregore or something,
Mm,
a spirit on top of whatever ghosts and whatever stuff, a not self-created, but an energy created thing, and
mhm.
that's holding people in. I've done
Mm.
Wow.
weird things there with the Ghost Adventures guys. He said, okay, 700 rooms. Which one? I led him right to a room where I almost jumped out a window. And
Oh,
he's like, and I
gosh.
led him
Oh,
right to a window somebody had jumped out of. And then
Oh
I
my
led him
gosh.
another. I was there with my overnight guys, my YouTube, Corey and Nelton. And I thought I was channeling because I channel and I'm rocking like I rock. And I thought I was just mumbling along, talking. It was gibberish. They played it backwards. I was talking English backwards.
No, you weren't.
I'm like,
get out.
wow, I can't even do my alphabet backward. I mean, I can't. If I got pulled over for drunk driving and they go do the alphabet, take me in. I can't. So I
Sorry.
couldn't
I'm
talk
sober,
English
but
back.
take me in.
Z, X, Y, X. No, I couldn't. So
That is
yeah,
so
that place is
freaky.
crazy. So we need to clear the Cecil and then let everybody move in. Because I even saw an article recently, people aren't moving in. Here's a free or almost free rent. They still
Wow.
can't move in. It's because it's dirty.
I would imagine you have I don't know why I'm looking to you only, but after you told me about, your magic school, I'm all of a sudden like, wait, you might be the person. But if only there were 700 mediums who could just go into each room and you just take one room and just make it happen.
Yes.
Just
And,
clear
and,
it
and
out.
whatever, a medium or anybody else of a high vibrational, whatever their belief system that can
Yeah.
go clear it. Yeah.
Yeah. You just
Wow,
if
that's
you've got that
scary.
kind of if you've got
Okay.
that kind of pull, that's what you got to do next.
Right. Okay. We're going to set it up. You guys are there. You're there. You're there.
I'm
You're
in.
there. Okay.
I'm
Cool.
flying in. I'm flying
Okay.
in.
Oh my God. So many questions, but the time, and Bill's being
That's
very
okay.
good. So tell people, I will have to have you back. Will you come back? Come
We would
do?
That's
love
fine.
to. I
I
feel
would
like
love to.
Belle and I started the show late with the electricity going out, so I
Yes,
apologize.
yeah, I know, and I'm gonna get it. Oh, but so tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your book, where they can find your tour, where they can find your podcast, social
Oh, yeah.
media.
Of course.
Talk
So
on.
everything should be linked on our website, and that's why we drink.com. If you want to buy tickets to our tour or see if we're going to your city, that would be, and that's why we drink.com/live. We are on every social media, I think, as ATWWD podcast. And you can find our book wherever fine books are sold. We always try to, encourage people to shop at their local bookstore. But, it's also available on all the big online sites as well. So I think that pretty
Okay.
much sums it up.
Okay. Well, you guys have brought beautiful, beautiful magic to the witching hour. So keep up the crime, keep up the ghosts. Remember to laugh, and you've got it all. So thank you very much for visiting the
Oh,
witching
so
hour.
Thank you
wonderful to
so
meet
much.
you. Thank you,
Thank
Patty.
you.
Thanks.